Hello everyone, this is the first video in a video series I will make where I paint the Operation Artemis box set and also the 3D printed resin bullhorn. I already primed all the minis, black prime and then zenithal of white. You can use any primer you want. First of all, let's take a look how the bullhorn took the primer, so it does not lose any color. So it took the primer very well. Looks good to me. As you've seen in the other video, this is very sturdy resin. I threw it with all my force on concrete. It didn't even break any of the finer tips, so that's very, very sturdy and a very nice resin. So I'm going to paint all of those with the TTCombats range of paints. In this particular case, I have the starter set of the paints and I will use them exclusively, test them out and see how they perform and what they can do. The first thing I did is I inserted a agitator ball into them. They look like this, small little metal balls. They are rust-free, and with all dropper bottles I would highly recommend to put one into them. Normally I would pre-thin the paints, but I didn't for the TTCombats ones, and I will only use the thinning from my wet palette and see how they perform, basically. The agitator balls will make shaking easier and help working against drying and clumping. So the first thing I want to do is I want to have a plan. So the black underside I will paint probably with a skin tone, and then I will make it shift into another color on top, probably something like maybe green. Green would be nice. And then I will paint armor plates and wings from those small ones different color, but let's start with painting the skin color on the bottom. So all of those bottles come with a child protection thingy, so you need to push them down. Let's see how they work. So very thin nozzles. This is one thing I have to test out longer. Maybe they want to dry up and clog. Nothing that can't be fixed easily, but it's a thing to keep an eye out for. So let's start with the bullhorn, as this one is the new resin and I want to know how good it will take color. So let's see. So I'm going to paint all of this. So as I can see it, this color is probably not covering with one coat, which is fine. It's a very light color and it's going on a dark surface. Let's see how it works. So thinking about how this is going to be painted. So I think this will be the line where it fades into probably the green. So it's an imaginary line. I will go with, I think the feet will be in this color as well. So, and I am going to use this to separate. So I will paint this and for all the models and be right back. Okay, so I painted all of the miniatures bottom sides with the skin tone, and it dries very matte, which is kind of nice. I like this. As you can see, it does not cover with one coat. This is just one coat, but that's fine for the purpose I want to achieve. This is just a base coat, and I purposely over thinned the paint on this one here to see how it behaves, and it basically behaves like a wash or contrast paint if you thin it with enough water, as you can see here. So this is quite useful, and I will use this to my advantage later. But now, as I was looking at those miniatures and painting them, there are details here which kind of scream rock to me. So I will paint those in gray. I will use this Admiralty gray, and I will paint the things that look like rocks, like rock. Also, I noticed that the paints are on the thicker side, so I would recommend thinning them a little bit, pre-thin. So when you put agitators in them, put 1 or 2 drops of water in them as well, maybe 3, just to thin them by default a little bit. So I'll take this gray, and then I will pick everything that looks like a rock for me, like this, and paint over it. And also, while I'm at it, I will start defining this line I did. This. Oh. Those look like rocks. Those here in the back look like rocks. And I use the fact that those paints won't cover in one coat completely as an advantage. Here, because I want some of the skin tone shining through. While I'm at it, I'm going to base coat those hoofs in gray as well, because I want them to be stony. I have these parts as stone color, so I want the nails as well. I can imagine that those creatures want some sort of camouflage while walking around on the planet. And some scales took the color of rock and looked like rock. So I do this. So do I have any rocks left? I don't think so. They are only on the legs. So let's paint the hooves here and the claws as well. Just like this. Okay. I will do this to this one as well. Let's have a look at the bullhorn. The bullhorn has hooves as well, so those are going to be painted in this color. And the bullhorn does not have this kind of rock texture, but it has a very prominent plate in the front here, so I will do the plate in gray. Just to have a coherent paint scheme. And I will only do the top part of this plate, like to here. And from there on I will change up the color a bit to make it look a bit more natural, so to say. Okay. Good. Now I have those sphinxes, and they have this rocky texture as well on the legs, so I will paint that in this kind of scheme. Everything that remotely looks like a rock will be painted. As you can see here on this leg, and this leg just looks like a rock as well. Those are clearly scales. I want them to be in a different color later on, but for now I will focus on the rocks. And those ones do not have anything like that, but they have those wings, and I will paint the inner parts of the wings in this color. Like this. I will later on change the color for those bony texture here. So I go around and paint all of this, and I'll be back. Okay, so I'm done with painting the gray, and now I'm going to paint some green. And I will just paint the whole upper part of the models. This will be a very harsh line for now, but I think I will blend the green with the skin tone later. But for now I'm just going through all the minis and paint them with this very vibrant green. Like the other colors does not completely cover with one coat, but that's fine. I always have two thin coats rather than one thick coat. So I'm going through all the models now and paint them like this. And after that I decide what's next. So I will continue and be back when I'm done. Okay, so this step is now done, and now I'm going to try out the capabilities of blending for those colors. And for that I'm going to get some both paints I used. And I'm going to mix them round about equal parts, maybe a little bit more of the green, like this. Now I'm going to apply this intermediate color here, like this. Take the dark green and wet blend from the top, which works quite nice. Feather it out a bit, and the same from the bottom. Like this. And I think when it dries, it will be blended enough for my purposes. So I'm going around now and do this for the whole miniature. Always work in small patches if you want to wet blend, or the paint will dry on you while blending, which is not the best thing if you want to achieve a smooth blend. Yeah, I go around through all the miniatures and do this, and I'll be back. Okay, so I finished blending, and the paint is okay for doing some blends. I would highly recommend to thin it with some medium beforehand, because as you can see, it is a little bit streaky on some areas that can be mitigated with some more medium, but all in all, it looks good enough to work with for the next step, which is I will make a wash for the minis. I will take the trench mud brown and I will thin it with a whole lot of water. Normally I would use some medium, but water is all I have right now, so there will be some tension from the water. But I think that will be fine in the end. Let's see, it's still too thick. Yeah, like this. And then I will just wash the mini with it. More water. So this will probably look a little bit weird when it's dry, but I will highlight back the mini after that anyway, so I can work with that. I will just go around and wash it with thin paint. And I think this will work quite fine. Just take a look at where it's pooling. Maybe a little bit too much, and then do something against the pooling. Hard to hold the miniatures at some point. Also, this kind of wash will get rid of the streakiness of some of the blends. Okay, so I'll let that dry and I go around on all the miniatures. And then I'll take a look how it looks when dry and continue painting from then on. But as you can see, it still kind of works like a wash. It's just a little bit more opaque than the wash would be. But I do like how it, even though it has some surface tension from the water, it still goes into the recesses very well. And I think I can do something out of this. Also, it makes them look dirty, as they are animals in, I imagine, a jungly terrain, because they have the perfect color to blend into jungle with this scheme. Yeah, so I will go around, do all the minis, let it dry, and then continue painting. So I'm back after the wash is dry, and it looks like this. It did pool and dry a little bit spotty and weird on some areas, but overall, the fact that it dries that matte helps a lot with it. But this will be fine. As you can see here, there are some tide marks, but I will highlight anyway now, and that will fix a lot of the issues. On this model, where the grooves are deeper than those big muscly areas here, the wash worked very good, and I'm happy with this. And now I'm going to take my base green, succulent green, and I will just do some highlighting on the raised parts. And I will clean up all tide marks as well with this. And have, hopefully, a good look after that. So I just go around and I will keep those recesses but paint everything else with the succulent green. I really do enjoy this green. It is very, very good looking, and I like that it dries very matte. I don't have a lot of matte colors. I do have matte colors, but not that matte, and I do think I will use them more often for anything woodland or jungle related in the future. And as you can see now, the blend is still there, but now it's covered with a lot of brown and wash. So it blends in the end completely. I will not highlight the blended area and keep it like it is, so it will indicate the change from one color to another. At least in my head it does. And I will paint everything raised on this miniature. Also, there is this texture on this, and I will follow the texture with my brush strokes. And as I can see it now, those areas up here also look like rocks. I put this bullhorn away so the camera will focus properly. So those parts here look like rocks as well, so I will repaint them gray. Or rather, I will use my gray paint basically like this. And then, yeah, I will wash that again then. But for now, I just repaint this quickly. And I will do this on this other Minotaur as well. Yeah. I think that looks quite nice. Making some more wash so I can paint this ridge. I need to paint it on this one as well. Do that real quick. And as you can see, sometimes painting miniatures is just a process, so I did not have anything planned out for this miniature, and I make some decisions as I go and try out things, but it's mostly guesswork. And if I don't like something, I just repaint it, as with those rocky ridges up here. That's too thick. Still too thick. Better. So there we go. So I should have let it dry a little bit more, but just paint over it here. That's fine. Okay, so this needs to dry now a bit. Put this one away. And then I will continue to highlight the green around the miniature. Like those parts here need some highlighting. So I feel like I'm getting somewhere now. texture here. I think this might take dry brushing very well, but I will just do it by hand. With my brush. Just some line work, because I like the effect I achieve with this kind of painting. But it clearly would take dry brushing well. Maybe I will dry brush a little bit of a very, very light green over it, but let's see how it looks after this first step of highlighting. Or rather re-establishing the base coat. Yeah, I do like this. So I will go around and paint all the green, and then I'll be back at the next step. Okay, so I'm done with doing the cleanup for the green. This one is still drying. But overall, I think it looks quite good. Also did it on them, on those small ones, and on all of the harpies. And now I'm going to do the same for the stone and the skin. So start off with the stone first. Take the Admiralty Grey. And then I will go around and clean up all the stony parts, just like this, which automatically makes them pop very, very strongly. And I do think that this looks quite striking. I'm basically painting the whole stone except for those recesses. And I think I will do another highlight later on. But that's how it will look. Also, for those with wings, I will go in and paint towards this bony structure, and I will keep the line of the applied wash like this on the miniature. Basically just cleaning up the wing features. As you can see, some places where the wash was a little bit of heavy-handed, I just go in and clean this up. I leave some of the wash there because there is a fold I would like to accentuate with the wash. So I go around and pick up all the highest points. So it will look like this. And I will do this for everything. Start with bullhorn now. And the bullhorn has a lot of tide marks on those flat surfaces, so we'll go over them like this and clean up. Not on the green though. And yeah, make this look like stone, like a big stone plate. I need to thin the paint a bit. More water on the brush, and yeah, that's better. Keep the deepest recesses, this gray washed out color. And let's see, like this, like this, probably. So, yes, looks good to me. You could, for the washing stage, I would clean up anyway, but you could just use any other wash you have for the washing stage. But I wanted to try out how the TTCombats paints thin, and if it looks good. And I kind of think it does. Works quite well. So I will go around and paint all the stone colored pieces, and then I will be back and I will paint some more of the skin tone and continue from there. Okay, so I'm done with doing the gray now, and I think this looks very good for now. I'm going to highlight the skin tone next with the base paint. Let's see where this leads me. Probably just a proper base coat. Let's see, so as I said, I'm going to skip the parts that are blended, and I'm going down here and just paint the most raised parts with the skin tone. And I can already see that I will like this a lot. I do really enjoy this skin tone. It is very, very nice. The paint needs a little bit more thinning though. So only the wet palette is not sufficient. Make sure you have water in your brush. And probably don't drop the miniature into paint. That would be nice. So, going to do all my base coat re-establishing here. Thin the paint a little bit more and just go in. Okay. And this will also fix all the streakiness of the first base coat. That's why I didn't do a second one on most miniatures, just on some really prominent parts, because I was sure to go over it again anyway. Yeah, and I will try to keep this texture on those legs by doing some line work, and with that I will do it quicker than painting. I'm not neatly painting it, I'm just roughly estimating the lines and painting over them, which is more than enough to create some texture, and the lines that are on the model and sculpted will help sell the illusion of texture quite a lot more. I'm just trying to keep the paint off the deepest recesses. So, for example, like here, there is some texture here and I want to emphasize it, so I'm just painting some lines. Just a flick of the brush, really easy. Just like this. And I will catch some of the higher parts. And that's way enough. I think I will do a very specific edge highlight later, but now I will just go around and paint the models like this and do some cleanup. Also, I just painted this part, and then they will look like this, and I will continue to do this now with every mini. Be right back. Okay, so I did the highlighting for the skin tone. I quite like this. I did some streaky texture for the bullhorn to have him be more interesting, especially on this big flat part with some more texture. It's nice. Also, I did the highlighting on those ones. And here is a Minotaur for now. So the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the green even further. And what I will do, I will take the succulent green, drop that, and I will take the spotlight yellow and mix them 1-to-1 to get a color that is lighter in hue. So I don't want to use white because I don't want to desaturate the color. I didn't try what happens if I use the white. I will try it on the skin later on, but for now I will just use yellow. Also, I want a highlight color that is closer to the yellow that is in the skin tone for some consistency in hue. So I will get a color like this, and I pick a mini, and then I will just highlight those like that. That's too bright actually. I want it a little bit darker, so I will put more green into it. So that's closer to a 2-to-1. Then yeah, I think that's a whole lot better. So it's a foresty kind of green. Yeah, that's better. It's more subtle. And I will just go around and highlight everything I think that needs some more highlighting. Those scales are going to be edge highlighted like this. Just some, not the most accurate edge highlight, but it will be sufficient. And for those parts here, I will do a broader highlight, just like this. Just like this. And go around quickly highlighting everything with the edge of my brush if I can. And I think this will go a long way in giving me the desired effect. I do think this yellow does a great job mixing very well with the green as an effect. Yeah, I do think this looks quite great. Let's just finish the scale here, those scales here, real quick. And then I will take a look at the bullhorn, because I probably am going to do some texture as well. So this will be painted later. So for the bullhorn, it does not have a lot of texture, very big flat spaces. So I will get less paint on my brush, and I will paint those parts here and do some stripe motion and paint a texture onto those muscles, just like this, which will help sell texture on the miniature. And I'm following the curves of the muscles by doing this. Just to get some illusion of maybe some fur or just kind of a camouflage that could naturally occur. Just like this. So it looks like this then, and I think I will do a second pass over everything to make it even more prominent. This looked like some palm tree leaves, which is an effect I think looks quite good with such big flat spaces. You can do whatever you want with your mini, but I want some texture here to make it visually more interesting to look at. I will keep those blended parts as they are for now. And then it looks like this. And I think that looks great. Especially when it dries. Gets very subtle. And I think this is a very, very good look for the miniature. So I will paint everything like this. So I will highlight everything here on those ridges and finish the texture here, and maybe do some texture on those ones on the legs as well, because they are very flat as well. And then I will come back after I'm done with that. Okay, so I'm done with those now, and I quite like this. So a quick look. This is how they look now. You could leave looking at red, green at that easily, but I somehow think I want it to be a little bit more highlighted. So I take a tiny bit of green and now mostly yellow. What is this? Why is this falling off all the time? Can you stop? Maybe even more yellow, like this. So 2-to-1, but basically the other way around now, going more towards the yellow. So this is a very extreme color, and I'm just going to do the most prominent features I have. So like this jawline here has some very, very prominent features I will highlight. Just like this. And that's just to get some focus on those points. Just this jawline here. And the most prominent parts of those lines that go across the model. I'm just stippling some detail onto it. Just like that. Going to do this on everything that I think needs that color. Like around those horns, I want those to be more prominent. This ridge here. Just quickly touching the model on the line, keeping my textured lines in the same direction. Just like this. I am noticing on some miniatures that when I handle them too much, some of the paint rubs off. I guess that's just a humidity issue here, but I probably will seal the miniature at the end, just to be safe. Could be a paint property that would require further testing of the colors and of the range. But for now, I just assume it might be the color, so I'm going to seal the mini later, just to be on the safe side. Might be just the humidity though. We have high humidity here right now, so the paint does not dry properly for a while. And I want to make the miniature look like this. I think I'm going to do some half-size lines here as well, like this, and some extreme highlights on the legs, but I am just keeping the lightest color to the top here, try not to overwhelm the bottom side. just like this. And I think this does do quite a good job. Now I will go around and do the same on all the miniatures. And for the bullhorn, I'm just focusing on the most prominent ridges of the muscles and imitate fur by stippling some of the paint on, and really just basically every line I already did, I do it halfway again, so it really does look like a palm tree. This resin does take the paint rather well. I quite enjoy this. I haven't seen such a good quality resin in a while. Pleasure to paint, pleasure to work with. Very sturdy. Here we go, like this. And I will continue to paint the whole miniature like that. And I'll be back after I'm finished with this. Okay, so now I just exchanged my paint water and finished all of the minis. The green is now completely done on all. And now I will paint the rocks a little bit more. So I will pick the gray, and I will take some of the white, mix it roughly 1:1. Okay, this is somewhat annoying. Fresh water is now, as I use white, I don't want to cross-contaminate it with other possible colors that are already in the water. And then I'll go around and pick out the rocks a little bit better. Just some highlights. Like this. Around everything that looks like a rock. Yeah, looks good to me. And also on my bullhorn, I will start highlighting this big plate. Like this. think I'm going to take some water and a little bit of the gray, this whitish gray I mixed, and then I will try to feather it a bit here. Yeah. Not the best color to glaze. No, that doesn't look that good. Makes a little bit more gray into the color. And I will just layer it. I think I will do multiple layers of continuously less gray and more white on those big flat panels here. Ah, that looks a lot better. I think I could dry brush this as well. Actually, this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to try it. So I have a big fluffy makeup brush, and I will get more white onto my palette. And I do a dry brush for this area here. To make it look like stone. Give it more of a stony texture. Yeah, that looks good. That looks way better now. I will continue with even more white. This ring really annoys me. More white but less paint in the brush. And now I will basically use pure white. Some up here. And now I will go in and do a little bit of final edge highlighting for this bullhorn armor. make it look like stone. Yeah, I think that looks good to me. And also, while I'm doing the stone highlights, so I will do a second highlight for the stone with pure white, just on the highest, most prominent points of the stone. Just like this. Yeah. Now I will go around all the miniatures, paint the stone like this. So mid highlight with a middle gray and then pure white. And then I will be back. And then I think I will start highlighting the skin. Okay, so I painted all the stone colored bits on all the miniatures like this, and also I did the wings on those, and now I will paint all the skin areas, highlight them. I will pick up the skin tone. I think I will put some white on the palette as well. And make a highlight color with this. Slightly lighter skin tone. And I will just go around and put some highlights on. I'll only do one highlight for the skin areas, will be enough, I think. Yeah. So we'll go around now and highlight everything like this, and then I will be back, and then I will do the last step, which the last two steps, which will be all the red parts. I want those spikes and the tongue in red and hair and some parts on them in red, and after that I will paint the teeth in white, and then I'm done with the menu. Oh, I still have some white on the palette, so I might as well just do the teeth now, like this, and after that I will be done. I come back after highlighting. Okay, so I went ahead and I did some highlighting on the skin, all of them, and I think they look pretty good now. Happy with that. I did it for the small ones, I just did a quick dry brush of the lighter skin, and now I will do some red, but first I will, oh, and I did all the teeth as well, small base coat of gray and then just spot highlight of white. Now I will take some brown and I will base coat everything that will be red and brown first. So I will go ahead and do that. So like on this mini, this face part will be red and I will use this as a base coat. And shadow color for everything that will be brown. Red, everything that will be red. So this face, then all of those horns I will paint, and for those ones I will paint those horns on the back. And all those quilts down here. Like this. So I will do that, and for them I want everything that is wing structure to be red. So I will go around and do this as well. Be right back. Okay, so the brown is done now. Base coated everything. It's going to be red in the brown. And now I'm going to use the Viscera red and the rest of my brown on the wet palette and mix it 50-50 as most red colors have brown in them. Should be an dark off red then, which works. And now I will go around and start painting all those brown parts partially red. I will leave some brown showing. Just like this. So I have some shadow to work with. And after that I will highlight this red with pure Viscera red. Just like this. So those little spikes in the back. Also I noticed that, yeah, sometimes the paint does rub off a little bit, especially on such high points where I touch the model a lot while painting. So the models need to be sealed. I think that's mostly because of the paint. but the paint is very nice. So it's something I will do, and which will be fine. So now I use pure Viscera red and just do the tips like this. I do and quite like this red. It's a very, very vibrant, good red. Paints very well as well. Yeah, I think that looks good. So I will go around and paint everything that is brown like this, and I will paint the eyes of this one white again, and then I will make a colored glaze, probably some yellow, and just glaze it in there, or rather wash it in there. But I think it's pretty much it then. Yeah, I do that, and I will be back after I'm done, and then I will show the minis, and then they will be put on bases and they are done. Oh, I forgot to paint the tongue in here. Let's do this real quick. Some red like this, and then I will use the Viscera red and give the tongue a highlight, just like that. I touched one of the teeth here, just clean it up a bit. That's fine. Okay. Yeah, so this is how one of the finished models will look like. I think they are rather striking. I do enjoy those colors. I'll be back after I'm done with the red. Okay, so the minis are now done. This is how they look. I think it's quite nice. The colors are great, great to use. It's just a starter set and I managed to do this. So they are cheaper than Army Painter, or same around the same price as Army Painter, but the quality is even or slightly better depending on the color, but I would recommend them to everyone who's starting out. I do already have a lot of paints, but if you're starting and you want some more paints or new paints, go start a set of them. I think all those colors are 25 pounds, so that's around 30 euros. It's quite a nice price. I do recommend them. Last thing to do is I will paint those eyes with some watered down yellow, just for the effect. And I think I will highlight this real quick with some white. Mixed with yellow. So I get this ice yellow color and just dot it in there and in there, and then just some white, dot, dot, and this one is also done. I like that the nose looks like the nose of a T-Rex. Yeah, so the resin took the paint very well. I like the 3D print. And this is one of the sphinxes. And the little ones, gargoyles, I think. So I will put them on bases now, make a photo, and use it as a thumbnail. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Bye.